Ooh la la.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing today? And welcome to the latest edition of the Drew Media Live Podcast. Nice to have you with us for this Wednesday, the 8th day of November, the year 2017. And of course, this is yours truly, Andrew L. Perry. Coming to you live and at you from the busy streets of Brooklyn, New York, as I love to do for you every weekday afternoon. Nonetheless, great to have you with us as I chit chat with you what's going on in the world of sports. This is your one-way sports, Brooklyn's own one-way sports talk. So before we get into the basketball, before we get into briefly about the Knicks, I'll spend a little time what happened at the UCLA men's basketball. Get themselves into a lot of trouble. On serious, we got some sad news to report. We got some sad news that to be brief on a little bit. As Roy Halladay lost his life yesterday in a plane crash in St. Petersburg as he's flying his own plane, and he was 40 years old when he was 40 years old. One of the finest gentlemen you'll ever known, and one of the most greatest pitchers this decade has ever seen. This decade of the sport, no question about it. And he lost his life yesterday, around Tuesday morning. I don't have much information, but the Phillies pointed out the Phillies send their condolences, and saying they are sad. They are obviously saddened because he gave their best postseason moments ever in the history of the franchise as the first postseason no hitter since Don Lawson in the World Series, since Don Lawson, and probably will have 2010 is probably going to have one of the single best years of his career, when he had a perfect game in the regular season against the Marlins. I mentioned the year in 2010, and also a postseason no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds in the division series of Game 1 in 2010. And we'll remember him as one of the greatest pitchers the baseball world has ever seen. And he lost his life way, way too soon. And since towards the end of his retirement, he'd been talking about having his own plane because he grew up around planes with his dad, and he finally bought a plane not a couple of years ago. He tweeted in August. I don't have the tweet with me, but I'm just paraphrasing what he's saying though. But he really was one. He lived out his dream, and he finally bought a plane, which was a nice plane. If you have more information and stuff like that, go to cbs.com or SI for more information. But nonetheless, he's truly one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history. So our condolence goes out to his family. Let's just have a little moment of silence for Roy Halladay. All right. Well, let's. All right. Well, in the meantime, let's get. In the meantime, let's get back to what we love talking about is sports, and now to the UCLA men's basketball teams that the Bruins got themselves in a little hot water. That's pretty much an understatement. As three Lorenzo Ball brother and his teammates got himself into trouble as they were arrested arrested earlier today at the Hotel of China right by Shanghai at Shanghai. They went to the Louis Vuitton store and stole a couple of items. Now, and their names are LaAngelo Ball, Corey Rowley, and Jalen Hill. What were you guys thinking? And I'm sounding like their parents to them now. What in the hell were you thinking? What in the hell were you thinking when you decide to do one of the most stupidest things you could ever done? Shoplift? What in the hell? The thing I want to know, what the hell was the mindset going through you guys? Making that one of the most stupidest decisions that you have ever seen, that you could ever done in your wildest life. And listen, I'm no angel. God knows we're not. But that is one of the most stupidest things. And if that's part of me, thank God I'm not a student athlete. Because that was... You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. Forget about the reputation of UCLA for a second. Forget about the reputation for a second. Just put it aside. Let's just put it aside for a second. What you guys have done now is put a label on you. A label that is going to be very, 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 very challenging, difficult to take out. And that's the label that nobody wants. The last thing you want to do is go to another country and be labeled as a thief. Because once you be labeled as a thief, everybody's going to look at you. Especially, and I hate to pull the race card, especially if you're a black man. Especially if you're a black man. That's the last thing you want in your. That is the last thing you should want to do. And now you have to go through the court system. Now the parents have to get a very good lawyer. And how this gonna work? How this gonna work out? The last thing I heard about the story. They're in house arrest right now. All three of them. Oh yeah. Should thank the Lord for that, because guess what? It could have got a lot worse. It could have. Seriously, it could have got a lot worse. And it might be. Depends if the store manager wanted to press charges. And we don't know how it's going to work out. And the last thing, the president should. And the last thing the president should not get. The last thing the president should get involved is this type of nonsense. The president should not get involved in this. Just you worry about political stuff. Don't get yourself into something stupid, okay? Now, It's really hard to fathom. And when I heard the story, I couldn't believe I shouldn't say couldn't believe. I was like, that's so dumb. How stupid can you be to allow yourself to allow yourself to put yourself in a predicament, because nobody can blame yourself but you. It's one thing to steal. It's quite another to know for stealing to steal something from one of the most luxury, expensive stores in the world. And then if you do it in America, you want to get away with it. Because each items, as we all know, especially Apple, has serial numbers. And even if you post it on Instagram, what are you gonna do with those items? Post them on Facebook or Instagram? Talk about, look how I'm rocking. Look like a bunch of damn fools. Try to show off in front of everybody. Listen, they're gonna press some serious. Don't be surprised if China's gonna press some serious charges. Because the serious they could have done 10 years. 10 years. Can you imagine if they wasn't student athletes? Can you imagine if they wasn't student athletes? Oh my Lord. I don't care if you're black, white, how old you are, how young you are. It's flat out stupid. There's no way around it. It is so flat out stupid, and I'm not gonna sympathize enough. If you can't afford it and you know you can't afford it, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Or better yet, if you know you can't afford it, you should have never stepped into the store at all. Because when you I don't know what they was just planning to do, but when you go to a store and you know you're window shopping, you want to buy something, and you know you can't afford it, you should leave it alone. Don't ever step foot in it. Doesn't matter what country you're in. Because in the world of the $1 Million Man, every damn thing have a price. Everybody has a price. And just allow yourself. The fact that you allow yourself to put yourself in a predicament that you don't have to put yourself in. You don't have to put yourself in there. Oh my God!